right, we are back. I am here with Scott Herman, the VP of Strategic Partnerships, and Ian Bentley, co-founder and head honcho. No, I didn't say that well. Co-founder and CEO.
El Jefe.
El Jefe. El Jefe. I'm like offending probably like entire countries of people at this moment, but
not at
all. Of WAGMI Games, the studio behind WAGMI Defense. Very excited to dive into this game, the latest NFT mint, everything with y'all. But let's just start basic. Give me your backgrounds. Tell me about what you were up to and how you've ended up here.
Yeah, so background, actually, I'm part of the emerging technology of Web 2. Right out of college, I was in a rock band, and during that time, I wanted to create flyers and things like that for the band. At that time, one of my buddies pirated a computer for me with Photoshop on it, and at the same time, he's like, you need a domain name, and I'm like, what's that? So I literally grew up with Web 2 as far as designing websites and really helping pioneer, what we know as websites and, the internet. And then at the same time, what had happened a few years back was when NFTs started popping, I started to see commerce, the utility having to do with crypto. And to me, that was when I was like, all right, I didn't really understand what Bitcoin was going to do other than a store of value. Didn't really understand what a lot of the different protocols were going to do. But once the NFTs started popping and commerce started happening, that's where I started doing a little bit of research. Started listening to guys like Elio Trades and Alec Becker. And those are the ones that made the most sense, having to do with digital collectibles and gaming, and understanding that is essentially the future for games. And fast forward a couple of years later, I met the co-founders of WAGMI through another project, just a random project, and we didn't even know who we were. We weren't even doxed to each other when we started this project. Obviously, we doxed to each other immediately, but it was great meeting a guy by the name of Luis Trujillo, who's our chief gaming officer. He had a vision of not only being able to focus on a game, but he also was like, mobile's where it's at. So many people love mobile. Nobody's focused on mobile at all. And he actually had a universe in his head that he didn't even know he had in his head, that we were able to extract from him as we went through a creative process. And so, yeah, that's pretty much my background, how I got to this point. And, now fast forward 2 years later, we're on the precipice of one of the very few mobile games out there in Web3 that's about to go to a global launch. So we're really excited to be here. And of course, being able to be a partner with Immutable and the gasless transactions and all the things that Immutable is able to give us as far as the technology is concerned, it makes sense as far as mass adoption, which is where we're going for. And I'm sure we'll talk about that in a little bit.
It's interesting to hear that the mobile insight almost came first. I was going to ask you about that a little later, and like really seeing that there was green space there, or blue space, blue ocean, whatever the phrase is, that there was an opportunity in mobile first in Web3, which I agree with, and I think it's interesting. Scott, would love to hear, how'd you end up at WAGMI?
Yeah. Well, so it's interesting that you say, how you bring up the mobile, right? Because that's what really got my attention when I first met the WAGMI team, was the fact that they were building on mobile, because I'm a big mobile gamer myself. But before I get too far ahead of myself, my background is, it's a little all over the place. I have a lot of interest growing up as a kid, but my two main passions were always fitness and gaming. I was very introverted as a child, believe it or not, Ian. Very introverted. I had friends, but I kept to myself, and I'd rather spend 8 to 10 hours a day grinding on my Nintendo 64 versus, doing stuff outside. It just was the way I was growing up. But as I got older and I started to come out of my shell a little bit, fitness kind of became the thing that paid the bills. I started working in a gym when I was 14 for a free membership. Then I started running the front desk, became a personal trainer, became general manager. And then I was running and building clubs all throughout the East Coast. And then when I hit 23, I got on a TV show called The Real World on MTV. So it's a reality TV show where they take 8 people, they put you in a house, and they see what happens. And then they put it on TV for everybody to watch. Our season was very unique in that it was the first season where they didn't give us team jobs to do. In fact, they picked people who were pursuing things in New York City, like modeling, acting, show hosting, dancing, writing, directing. And so at the time, I was actually fitness modeling. I was the first person to get 3 pull-out posters in 1 year from Men's Health magazine, which is a pretty cool accomplishment for me. In fact, if you still buy their big book of exercises, you'll see like 22-year-old me demonstrating all the chest exercises and the ab exercises. So like I was starting to kind of be up and coming in that space. And after going on the real world and then living in the city for about a year, that exposed me to television. It exposed me to being on camera. I mean, this is when Twitter just came out. This is 2009. So YouTube was just starting to kind of get popular, and I just saw an opportunity to teach fitness to the world. And so I decided to move out of New York back to my gym that I was a general manager at, and then I would literally create content. I would work all day, close the doors at 10 p.m., and then film videos till 1 or 2 in the morning with a couple of my clients, Cliff and Tom. And back then, there was no algorithms. I'd upload like 7 to 10 videos every week on a Saturday, right? And they'd all get great views. And then I was doing it more or less just to educate people. I didn't know you could make money doing it back then. But then it turned into this huge business. I grew it to over 3 million subscribers. I was the head trainer for Lionsgate. They had their own channel called BFit. I did a lot of their movie integrations like Expendables, Central Intelligence, Day After Tomorrow. I was in that movie Heist. That was really cool with Dave Bautista and Jeffrey Dean Morgan and Mark Paul Gosselaar. Very interesting. We can talk more about that later. But, you know, I kind of just immersed myself in this environment. All the while, I still had my passion for gaming. That never stopped. Huge collector, huge into anime, huge into comics, huge into pretty much anything I can get my hands on and obsess over. And what got me into crypto, I hate to say it out loud, was meme coins. I had a friend who was like,
shitcoin day trading. We got
literally,
it.
what, 2021, my friend, you know, we're eating at this place called Hawkers, and he's like, you got to buy this token, Shiba Inu. And I was like, why? He's, I don't know. My rich friends told me to do it, so I'm telling you.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, okay. And this was before Shiba Swap, right? So I put some money in, and it pumped, and I made good money, and that obviously caught my interest. And I spent about a year kind of just like dabbling in, you know, projects because it was the bull market and everything was kind of popping off. And so I was trying to find, like, where is the best opportunity? And I started a YouTube channel called Scott Herman Crypto because as a YouTuber, that's how I educate myself. I do research and then make videos on it. And one of my community members was like, hey, you got to check out WAGMI. And so I had a call with Ian and Lewis and Khaled and Chris. And after that first call, I spoke to my business partner, who's also now a co-founder. And I said, this is probably the first team that has their shit together that we've ever talked to in the last year in crypto. Because I come from a background where I know how to build and scale a business. I know how to do marketing. Ian, that's basically his background too, to the 10th power of what I've done. And everybody else in the team, Khaled's our blockchain specialist. Lewis is the creative genius behind all the story and the lore and the characters and the game itself. Chris, amazing with marketing. He's a big reason why we got whitelisted on our Google AdSense account right away. And what I recognized what was missing in Web3 was there was a lot of great ideas, but not a lot of teams behind those ideas that knew how to build and scale. And then the fact that they were doing mobile really caught my attention because I have another gaming YouTube channel that I built up over 6 or 7 years playing mobile games. And one of the things that always bothered me was that I couldn't just give away extra characters or items while live streaming with my community. Because on the games that I play, a lot of the times I'd get duplicates of all the best items. And then community members would be like, oh man, I've been playing for 2 years and I still don't have this character. And then I'm just sitting there with like 4 copies, right? Only need 1, but I got 4. And I couldn't give it away if I wanted to. And so when I met WAGMI and the rest of the team and I saw what they were doing and I saw that it was mobile, from the creator side, it just clicked. And I saw this opportunity that I just couldn't miss out on.
Awesome. Well, we're coming back to the mobile gaming thing. I know we've talked about the mobile gaming thing here a little bit. I would love to know a little bit more about, tell people what the game is, WAGMI Defense. How do you play it? And I want to get into the lore a little bit here. Ian, why don't I throw it to you for that?
Oh, well, Scott can tell you all about the game. I can tell you about the lore, but Scott, why don't you just give a 10,000-foot overview about the game, the playability, and things like that?
For people who aren't too familiar with mobile games, I would say play style is similar to Clash Royale. But we're as much like Clash Royale as Fortnite is like Call of Duty, okay? But gameplay is you have 3 towers, your opponent has 3 towers, and then you have to build a team of either alien characters or human characters. Each character has a variety of attacks, some have stronger attacks, some have stronger defense, some move fast, some move slow, some do aerial, right? So the goal is to obviously build a team around the strategy of how you like to play. And then you have an energy bar that's filling up as the game progresses. And that energy bar corresponds to a number on the character's card. So for example, if you want to deploy a WAGMI troop, you need 3 energy. Once energy gets to 3, you can drag and drop the troop on the map, and then the troop does its thing. So it's an auto battler, but there's a lot of strategy involved because you have to time when and where you're placing your troops to not only get across the bridge, but destroy your opponent's characters in order to blow up their towers. If you blow up one of the side towers, that part of the map opens up, but if you blow up the middle tower, that's how you automatically win.
Oh, okay. So we're starting to get into some of the strategy here with this. And I want to find out, I know you guys have said you're leading with lore.
Yep.
So tie it together for us, Ian. Like, where does the lore come in? And I believe there was a comic book that kicks some of this off. So give us that backstory.
Yeah, I think that the main differentiation of a lot of the studios that are building in Web3 and what we're trying to do is leading with a universe, is creating its own unique universe. And WAGMI is an acronym. We're all going to make it. We consider we're all going to make it against aliens. That's WAGMI Defense. The year's 3022. It's 1,000 years from now. The aliens come down. They try to mine the core element of the Earth called Nephi, nickel iron, and that essentially, powers all of their suits and their weapons, and that is a galactic war that takes place, right? So it's this entire universe, aliens versus humans, and one of the other acronyms that's very important for us is why. Why would digital collectibles or NFTs be popular in a game? Now, you have your Web3 people that are your speculators. They're only here to see, how can I make money? What's the floor price? What am I going to do as far as being able to get something cheaper and sell it, vice versa, and what have you? The way we look at it is there needs to be the reason why Web2 people, regular people, gamers can come into a game and actually attach themselves emotionally to the characters within the game, therefore causing that emotional, bond with specific aliens, specific humans, maybe both. But then it's the collectability within the game that actually makes the why make sense in terms of why people want to collect NFTs, why they want to continue to play the game. And it's not just about the speculation. It's all about the emotional tie. And if you look at some of the biggest franchises in the world, your Marvels, your Pokemons, people love the characters. They like the story. And that's the reason why they collect. The fact that you can potentially make money on the back end, great. That's awesome. That's going to be for a small subset of people. The majority of people are going to do it for entertainment. But we feel that by leading with the lore, by having this amazing, very unique universe, it's allowing us to specify the why people are going to get infatuated with the NFTs, the digital collectibles, the trading on the secondary market, and then be able to actually buy more and more characters within the game that, what Scott says, you can deploy directly onto the map and have them battle within a 3-minute game loop on mobile.
So you're getting at something important here. You're getting at, in some ways, why NFTs, right? That's what you're talking about here, the collectible, the connection you can feel with it, the ownership element. And so you're starting to touch out one of the questions I wanted to get at with y'all, which is, how do you keep it from just being, pay to win? How are you structuring these NFTs within the game? It sounds like there's obviously the collectability component of this, but how do you make sure that this isn't something where it's not fun because it's whoever has the most money is going to come in first?
Yeah, and I think that's a problem that we saw come out a lot with games that we're building, especially during the bull market, right? It was a matter of, if you were in the beta, you only got access to these cards, and then when the game went publicly launched, it was like, oh, well, if you don't have those 3 cards, you're not most likely not going to win, or when you battle someone who has those cards, you're automatically going to lose, right? It doesn't make any sense. Like, to a gamer, it's just like, why would you even want to play a game like that if you're going to be outpaced as soon as you start? Now, with us, what we've done is we've created a level playing field for anybody who wants to play WAGMI Defense. Now, we also have collectability, which we've touched upon a little bit in some previous chatter here, right? So our game is free to play, Carly. Anybody who logs in, creates an account, goes through the tutorial, all takes like maybe a minute or 2 to go through it all. And then at the end, you're going to choose, do you want your starter deck to be aliens or humans? So let's say you picked aliens. So you're going to have your alien team. You're going to start battling through the campaign. You're going to start doing the PvE or maybe even the PvP as well. And as you're battling, you're actually winning new characters, right? You'll get a war chest that you can open and new characters come out. Those are all NFTs. And of course, it's on Immutable, right? So it's all just going in their wallet on their L2. Most people won't even know it's a quote-unquote Web3
abstracting
game.
away the hard tech bullshit.
Yes, you're literally just playing a game, collecting characters like you would any other game that you play. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to have seasons. And seasons are going to last about probably 3 months. And during that season, you have an opportunity to get a battle pass and all these other fun things. This is nothing new. This already exists in pretty much every single mobile game that you have on your phone right now. Now, in our game, you can actually create more rare variants of characters. So as you're opening war chests, sometimes you might get a rare or an epic or a legendary, but for the most part, you're going to get the common variants of the character. Once you have 5 commons of the same character, inside the game, there's a burning mechanism where you can actually burn those 5 commons to create a rare. Then once you collect 5 rares, you can make an epic, and then once you collect 5 epics, you can make a legendary. But what's changing between common and legendary? Well, of course, the artwork of the NFT changes, right? Before the match starts, I can see what cards you have, and you can see what cards I have. So it's almost like an intimidation flex where if I have all gold legendaries, you're probably going to be like, oh shit, this guy's going to whoop my ass. He plays a lot. Right? Or maybe I just bought them all on the secondary market, right? You don't know. But in terms of like, can you still beat me with a deck of commons? And the answer is yes. Now, aside from a visual change of the NFT, the character itself will get a tiny, tiny, tiny boost in power from common to legendary, but not enough to give you like this massive edge where you can't lose. Like literally the common variant to the legendary variant is like a 5% difference in overall power. So for example, if your attack power was 1500 on a common, on legendary it's 1550. So it's just enough to make you want to grind and get your cards to those higher variants. Now, once season 1 is over, and we move to season 2, we're going to have the season 2 variants of the cards. Still same exact characters, except that you can't take season 1 cards and season 2s and combine them to get the next variant. So that's where we're trying to be like, hey, the season's 3 months long, so you better grind. You can play for free and grind and open war chests and PvP battle to level your cards up to get them as close to legendary as you can.
That's where we feel the excitement of the NFTs on both the Web3 as well as the excitement from anybody else to come in that says, if I'm literally combining cards to make a better variant, what do I need to do? I need to potentially go into the secondary market at that point if I want to combine any of my season 1s, right? And therefore, what's going to wind up happening is, let's say that there was let's say there was one character that wasn't very popular in season 1. And that character winds up being one of the most valuable ones in season 1 because there's not that many available in order to merge, to continuously evolve. So I think it's going to be really exciting to see what the human behavior is, the gaming behavior is, based off of who they think is going to be the most popular, but who might be the most valuable, based off of
on
rarity.
scarcity models.
Scarcity model, exactly. So we're combining a lot of different elements that have worked in Web 2 games, and then being able to then utilize the NFT technology to be able to have the ability to openly, freely trade, with your friends or go on the secondary market, but without the full-blown speculation, the gating of the NFTs, all the things that people don't understand as far as technology is concerned. We're throwing that out, and we've built everything on the back end where you pick up the game, you can burn your cards. Yeah, you didn't understand that on a Mutascan, you can literally see those cards disappear and then form another card. If you're techie, if you're NFT wise, yeah, you can go check that out. But we're just utilizing the technology on the back end, so it's as simple and frictionless as possible for the consumer.
I love it. Yes, you're getting at abstracting away the tech. That's obviously is part of a goal to get more of the mainstream into Web3, or I should say like get the mainstream into this game, and Web3 is just a part of it. Is that almost maybe a better rephrase of what y'all are trying to do?
Yeah.
Let's talk broadly about your strategy. I know this is something you've talked about before, about trying to appeal to people who may even be outside of Web3 from a marketing perspective, from a biz dev perspective. Like, how do y'all approach that?
Yeah, that's a great question, and that's been one of the main things.
Especially in this market.
That's one of the things we've always been focused on from the beginning. And the fact that we have Lewis is creating the universe, we have companies like GadgetBot that are helping, getting a character from point A to point B as far as AAA quality. We have people on Marvel that are coming on to help us write stories. We're actually creating an anime treatment as well. So it's being able to utilize all of the different things within the universe to create a experience that is very similar to any other game or franchise that's out there. We don't feel leading with technology is going to be beneficial at all. If anything, it's going to be malice because people don't either know what NFTs are or think NFTs are right-click, JPEG, screenshot, monkeys, bunnies, apes. Like it's kind of our industry is kind of a joke if you look at it from the outside in. So, the way we're looking at it is, utilizing all of the lore that we discussed, the characters, and creating user acquisition funnels that would be very similar to anything else that you would see with any other game in the world. But that being said, you don't have to have crypto and to own anything within the game. What we've done is we've leveraged the technology on the back end where all you have to do is double click your phone and say, okay, I accept this on Google Play or I accept this on iOS device. And that purchase is done with regular money, with fiat, whatever country you're in. That currency is, it's already ready to go in all the different app stores. So you don't have to have crypto. And then the way we look at it is, should you want to trade? Should you want to say, oh, well, I just leveled up this card and now this level 10 General Stamima is trading for $25 or $30 and it really only cost me a couple dollars within the game. How do I do that? We'll teach you how to do that. It makes it really simple. And the way we look at it is by having the technology on Immutable. We're going to be integrating Passport into the game. We're one of the very first games in the world that we know of mobile-wise that will be integrating Passport. And making it so that it is as seamless as possible for somebody to just go right into the marketplace and list something for sale. Now, in the event that they want to buy something, we'll teach them how to buy a little bit of ETH or USDC or what have you. And the way we look at it is, like eBay. You need a PayPal account if you want to trade on eBay. If you didn't have a PayPal account before, here's a link. You create a PayPal account. You have to connect your bank account, and then now you can fund your PayPal account and go buy something on eBay. We look at it exactly the same way that crypto or Ethereum is just another kind of currency, and utilizing Passport is just like another account or a wallet like you'd have in PayPal. So, just trying to make it so that the layman's understand and equate it to something that is current within the market. And then therefore it creates a little bit less of a barrier when you are teaching somebody how to actually trade in, Web3 and in crypto. So
that's a good analogy, the PayPal analogy. So taking it now to the other side, this is how you make it so the crypto isn't first and foremost. But I think you all also have a token. And I'd love to understand how that's integrated into the broader gameplay and the ecosystem here.
Yeah, so we have our token is going to be a full utility token. And that's the only way you can move forward with the game. Like, it has to make sense. And it's not uncommon to already see a token in traditional gaming. If you play COD, you're buying token with a credit card. You're buying COD points. If you're playing Fortnite, you're buying V-Bucks. So having a token in-game isn't something that's uncommon. Now, utility to that token, what's so great is that's something you can continuously add on as the game develops more and more. So some of the utility right now for the token, obviously we have governance. That's one of the things that's talked about a lot. But governance more along the lines of like, hey, we're going to release, these 3 new characters. Which one do you want to see first, right? Building the business is still up to us and the core team, not the community, but the community will have some say in maybe like storyline progression or up-and-coming events, or maybe even bringing back some events that we had in the past, like the live ops opportunities. We're going to have tournaments where in order to enter the tournament, you have to use WAGMI Games token. We're going to have eventually skill-based wagering battles where you'll be able to use ETH, USDC, or WAGMI Games token. Winner takes all. And then some other ideas we're playing with. This is actually something that we recently saw in Big Time, which I thought was an amazing idea because we're doing it too, is let's say you want to jump into a battle and you want to start leveling up your cards and you need specific cards. Let's say you're trying to get rares and you want a chest that only gives you rares. Well, we can say, hey, if you use X amount of WAGMI token when you enter this battle, you'll get a chest that'll give you rare cards, so that you can add to that and try to burn those and create an epic. And then the same thing to try to create a legendary. So by taking the token and incorporating it into the game in a way where it makes sense and it's gamified, that's seamless integration right there. Yeah. Battle passes too, right? Hey, you want to buy the battle pass. It costs X WAGMI Games token, but you'll just double click your phone and all that transacting will happen in the back end.
Yeah, it's taking a system that currently exists and just augmenting it a bit by having the blockchain componentability, the interoperability, we'll say, obviously, right? The ownership. So let's talk about, final question here, what's next? I think you have packs revealing next week on Immutable, though by the time this airs, it may have just happened. So talk to us a little bit about that. What are you excited about?
Yeah, so we're going to start revealing the packs, the founders packs. So we did something really cool. We partnered with OpenSea to create our Founders Edition cards. And so these are packs that contain all 32 in-game characters. And it's the first time the new designs of our 12 heroes, our 6 aliens and 6 humans, are going to be in the game. And those and that's what we did in collaboration with GadgetBot. And so every single pack contains all 32 cards, and you're guaranteed a minimum of 2 legendaries, and then the others will be epics and rares. There's no common variants for the Founders Edition. Some people might get 10 legendaries, some people might get all 32. You won't know until you open the pack. So we really wanted to bring back that nostalgia of going to the comic book store, getting a pack of cards, opening it, and seeing what's inside. Are you going to get all commons? Are you going to get a shiny? Are you going to get a hologram? Are you going to get a clear, right? And just like the comic book store pack, when you open the pack and throw it away, on OpenSea, it's going to deflate. The collection's going to deflate. So right now, there's 3,000 packs on OpenSea. As soon as one gets opened, now it's 2,999. And you're going to see that collection continue to go down. And it's going to be interesting to see how many get left, because there will be speculators that want to hold on to an unopened pack, because maybe that unopened pack is going to be worth more in the future, right? Maybe once all the packs are open, there's a calculation done, and it's like, hey, there's still 3 packs left that have all 32 legendaries, and there's 200 unopened packs on OpenSea. Are you going to be able to resist the urge to open yours, or are you going to hold on to it, right? And then once the pack is opened, all of those 32 cards get dropped into the game on Immutable's L2, and then you're going to start to see something really cool happen. You're going to see people buying, selling, and trading, trying to create as many legendary variants as possible. And like Ian was saying earlier, it's the attachment to the characters that we're building out with our lore, with our comic books. We're actually working on an anime treatment right now, which we can talk a little bit more about too. I'll let Ian jump on that. But, you know, you might be playing the game and maybe you don't care to have all legendaries. Maybe you want to have a legendary, a rare, and an epic of specific characters because those characters are your favorite. You don't care about the rest. So now people might be holding on to epics and rares that you might need to burn to create a legendary. So like that's going to make the market, the secondary market, go crazy. You just like, you don't know what's going to happen, but people are going to be excited and get that nostalgic feeling of opening their packs very soon. Well, by the time this airs, it's already going to be happening. So you guys,
that secondary market will be doing its thing. The gamification will be afoot.
I mean, we already have people with the free to play cards. Sorry to cut you off. So we just saw a free to play legendary human emperor sell for $85, and that's one card. And again, you could get it yourself just from grinding, but someone's like, nah, I'll just pay $85. I don't want to grind for it. That's
which is especially cool when you consider, you're not getting a huge gameplay advantage from it. It's truly just the attachment to the art, the attachment to the character, the speculation, the thinking that things may go up. So very interesting. Ian, do you want to say a moment about the anime? Scott teed you up there. I don't know if you want to say anything on it before we wrap here.
Well, what I will say is the anime has a lot of different reasons why we're doing it. Number one, user acquisition. Number two, it's going to be the very first time that anybody can actually see the backstory of one of our characters in real life. So that, for almost 2 years now, we're telling people about what we're doing, right? We're telling people about the lore and the story. And it's another thing to say, okay, now you can see it in action. So the anime is our real first opportunity for us to say, this is the quality that you can expect from this franchise. In fact, what we're also doing with the anime, it's going to be a 45-second treatment, having to do almost with a unique music video that we're doing. It's a rap song, but that's going to be based off of the backstory of one of our characters. We will release that probably sometime in February or March. And what's going to be cool about that is we're also, as we mentioned before, working with writers. There's a gentleman that has worked with Stan Lee from Marvel that's helping us flush out the universe and coming up with a full-blown series and synopsis per series for us to be shopping to some of the streamers like Netflix. So we have all of these different ways that we want to be able to get our universe out, and all roads will lead obviously to our first game, which is WAGMI Defense. But again, we're just, we feel that the more we're able to lead with the lore, the more we're able to just extract this really unique universe that Lewis has been able to create. And all of, and by the way, Scott is a genius when it comes to just coming up with all the different history of anime and collectabilities. But, our entire team has just come together to create something that's really, we feel is very special. And that anime is part of like kind of the very first coming out party for us to show people this is what we've been talking about for the last couple of years.
I love it. Scott, Ian, thank you so much for being here, sharing a little bit more about WAGMI Defense with us. I'm excited to see those pack reveals, see what comes out of that, watch the craziness that unfurls afterwards, and just really appreciate y'all sharing your story here.
Thank you for having us. Appreciate it.
Being here.